Welcome. My name is George Pearson and I run the How To Gurus channel here on YouTube. Most of the videos in my channel are short demonstrations of the different tools and techniques you'll find in various software programs. Right now I have several hundred of these quick videos available on YouTube. This video though is different. This is part of a new series of longer demonstrations that I'm doing to show you how to complete complex projects from start to finish using a variety of techniques and tools. All of the images I use in these projects are in the public domain, and I've included a link to the pictures in the video description in case you want to work along using the same images. Okay, let's move on to the project. In this Photoshop Elements photography project video, I'm going to be showing you how to handle a situation like this where you have a picture where you may have had your camera tilted a little bit. This is an extreme example, obviously. I mean, nobody has a picture tilted this much unless you're not paying any attention at all. But we can straighten this up. But there's an approach to this that will give you the best effect. We want to be able to rotate this without losing too much of that background area. So I'm going to start off by just making a copy of our background. There we go. I'm just going to hide that. And let's make a new layer in here. I'll fill this layer with white. Let's grab the paint bucket. Make sure you're on foreground color. Let's take a look at our color swatches and choose white, so you're on the white color for that. That just fills it with white. Okay, that's the basic setup. We now can enlarge our canvas a bit to give us some space to rotate this picture around and see what looks best. So let's go up here to Image and Resize, Canvas Size, right there. That's when they'll make the actual picture bigger with leaving the image the same size. Let's just set this to %, and I'll set this at 125 wide, 125% tall, so 125% bigger on both directions. Choose OK. There, I notice that it has increased the size. You know, in our white background, they will also have some transparency shown. So I'm going to refill that layer with the rest of our white. There we go, just to have a nice clean background to work on. Go up here to our background copy, and we now can just roll the cursor just outside of one of our corners. And I've kind of missed it right there. Grab, and then you can pull that around until you get a nice alignment. Now if you want to really see where you're at, you can pull in a guideline and put it either at your horizon up there or some other optical horizon. I'm going to put it at the actual horizon across the top. Let's just set this in place, and I'm going to be doing a guideline right there. Now I have two. There we are. I can use that as a reference for this image, and again come out just outside of our corner here. There we go. Get that little cursor in there. You can see the kind of double arrow thing. When you see that, we can then pull that around. Now what I'm doing is I am looking at my horizon, which is right across here. I want that horizon there basically being horizontal. Okay. Choose OK to set that in place. So there we go. We've now moved that picture around, and it's now at the right size. We can adjust the height a little bit here, on the position a little bit. There we go. So we have that set. We now need to come in and crop in our picture a little bit, and then do some clone stamp stuff to fill in all of these areas. You can either clone stamp and then crop, or crop and then clone stamp. It's up to you on that, when you want to be doing that. Now let's just take a look at our clone stamp, and we'll start off with the biggest problem area, and that's going to be the arm right here and the side of the top right in there. This is going to be pretty easy out there. We'll clean some of that dirt out a little bit later. I also want to have this low enough so that I still see the top of the mountains up there. You want to have a little bit of that mountain showing. Gives you a sense of there being mountains back there, and this isn't mountains and sky in here. This can be confusing, so I want to have that in the background definitely showing. Okay, let's zoom in. Right down here, let's get that out of the way. Looks pretty good. That's not that much to fill in, and if we're careful, no one's really going to be noticing anything in here. So I'm going to take the clone stamp tool. Let's check our size. That's pretty good. I want a soft brush. Most of the time you want a soft brush on your clone stamp. And then hold the Alt key down, choose a spot. I'm choosing a spot right on the edge there. So I can then pull that down and match up, or line that up. You can see there's the edge of the arm. I can then line that up and get that arm in there. To do it a second time, same thing right there. Pull that down just a bit and match that. Okay, let's do the same thing up here. I'm going to come in here and grab right against that edge, so I can pull that edge down. See how I'm matching up that edge? Pull it down as far as I can. We'll come in and get rid of that writing and stuff as a last step. Let's just get the shape in first. And right there, and just pull that down again. There we go. So that gives us that edge. I now can come in here with a little bit of a smaller brush. There we go. And I'll grab right from here, and let's just get rid of that. And then down from here. And a little bit of back and forth stuff, and we can kind of clean out that extra writing that's in there, and even if we want to do a little bit of a touch up on the edge of the arm in here as well. So there we go. That takes care of the arm. That's probably the most difficult spot, really, because that's where people will be looking at. They'll be focusing on that location. Now everything else here is just a simple matter of doing some clone stamp. Let's just zoom this out a bit. There we go. Back to our clone stamp tool. We'll need a much larger size now. That's way too big. That's not bad. And then just a matter of coming in and grabbing some of this stuff. Now the problem when you're doing this kind of dirt thing, you want to be matching and pulling anything in which looks like it has a look to it, or a direction to it. So there's kind of this direction this way with this. So that's what I'm pulling. Don't get too close to the girl's arm there, or things will get kind of messed up again. I'll pull it as far as I can. We're going to have some duplication in here. We'll take care of that last. Let's just get the basic effect in here first. And it's just a matter of coming in and doing a lot of this clone stamp fill in here and extending the picture. Until we filled it in nicely. Now, at this point, you'll have things that have some duplication happening like right in here. So, just come in and grab a different spot and do some kind of random stuff in here to hide those duplications, like this little bit right down through here. I can take some of that and just stick that in here, a little bit of that right there, a little bit of that over there, and it hides that duplicated stuff. Same thing down here. Grab a little bit up in there and pull that in. And this is where having the soft edge on this really helps, because it helps to blend that in nicely. When you get to a spot like this, you want to copy that line there to the left. So if you have a line to copy, start from your line so you can then pull that line clear across, and you get that effect. So you want to be able to duplicate that line like we just did there. I don't care about this stuff. We'll be getting rid of that in a little bit anyway. Okay, now we're at the top of the picture. Again, we have our horizon line right here. I'm going to grab over here someplace, click on there, pull it to this side, match my horizon line up, and I'll see how far I can pull that. There we go. And we have this stuff in here. Same thing, there's a line on that, a line effect. I want to pull that line effect clear across. Now up in here, I'll have to go for a smaller brush to get that little bit out. But let's first do a little bit of cleaning up some of this miscellaneous stuff in here, which is a little bit distracting. Now it's fairly soft in here. You can see a kind of, real soft effect. Again, staying with that soft brush makes that much, much easier. Let's do the same thing up here. I'm going to pull and fill the right side in. So I'll grab from right about here. Let's match that horizon line as best as we can. Pull that over. And just continue that effect clear across. And then a little more stuff in here. And we're just about okay with the clone stamp on this. Grab some of that. Again, we have a line here to work from, so I'll grab that line, try to match that line. And our texture, as you can see here, also has a bit of a directional to it, so I just match that directional. Now we're getting into the edge of her outfit here, so I need to do something different for this area. So I'll grab from way over here and then clone into this bit right there. And that should let us finish that off. There we are. Looks pretty good. Last little bit is this bit of sky up here. Now we're going to be needing a smaller brush. So I want to clone just from the sky itself. That's good. I'll just grab it from right about there. And I'll pull up to here and pull that clear across. Take as far as it'll go, and then grab here, finish that off. Now once you have that done, go back in and look for any problem areas. So there's a little line right here, so I'll just grab a bit of that brush, kind of touch that out. Let's get rid of this horizon line reference, and that's fit on screen. Looking pretty good. The horizon looks good. We cleaned that out nicely. This is looking pretty good. I'm not really seeing any duplicate, no obvious duplication happening in there. So there we go. As you can see, it's a pretty straightforward process. It's just a matter of paying attention mostly to things the eye is watching. So if I hide this and show that, there's the original. There's our cleaned up version. Just like that. Now I had to fake a little bit of the arm down here to extend that because I wanted to have a little bit of arm showing. I didn't want to cut the picture off too far down, and we had to keep a little bit of our area showing up on top up here as well. But it did allow us to come in and do a real nice cleanup on that, as you can see. Just again paying attention and using the clone stamp tool carefully. The main things to watch out when you're using that clone stamp tool is to make sure that you are following any lines that are being shown, like along this line here, the horizon line. Make sure you follow those lines like we did down here. And if you have any repeat patterns showing up, make sure you hide those or soften out those repeat patterns to make it a little less obvious that what you're doing is a bit of clone stamping. The ratio is the same because, of course, we enlarge it 125% both horizontally and vertically, so the ratio stays the same. The ending picture is a little bit larger than we had to begin with. Now, if you want to get the picture down to that original size, again, we can still do that. So let's just make sure we're on our right layer in here. And we're going to resize this a little bit. I'll hold the Shift key down so it'll resize it a little more smoothly. And let's just get the upper left-hand corner in position. Just right about there. Let's get the bottom right-hand corner up. And that's right about in here. We can see where we were clone stamping outside there, as you can see. But that's now about the right size. And if I bring the opacity down a little bit here, we can double check that. Okay, so we're just a little bit larger now than the original size, and that's fine. There we go. I'm now going to hide that top layer, and we're going to crop in on this picture into that original shot right there. So we're going to actually crop in and down to that original size. So let's go up to Image, come down here to Crop, and there's our crop tools. You can see them in there. So I'm just going to grab this and get that out of the way. Adjust this so it's just right at the edges of the original picture. Just like that. Choose OK. Crops it down. I was a little off there. I could have been a little more careful on that one edge there to make it exact. But that's basically it. So we're now cropped down to the same size. So there's the original. And there we are, cropped down to that same size. So there we go. That is how to come in and rotate what is in this case a difficult picture. Most pictures won't be rotated as bad, and you won't have to do as much clone and stamp as I did there to fix it. It'll be just little thin sections for your fix. The real key to doing this is to enlarge your picture first so you can rotate that with some background area, and then clean your area up as you need to, so you can then crop back in to have your final output. I brought the picture back up here. I've kind of removed that crop that we did just a moment ago, and I brought the picture back up to its full size again. This way we keep the figure the same size. Let's say I wanted to bring this in, the size in, and bring it down to our original size without changing the size of the girl. As we saw, if I just pull the edges in, the girl's image changes. If I pull the edges in from all of our sides like we did for our crop, to bring it down, that part of the picture actually gets smaller. So the image of the girl gets smaller. If we want to keep her the same size, of course I could just come in here and cut the picture off. But if I cut our picture off, I would lose that horizon that I want to have up here. If I want to keep that horizon, it becomes a little more difficult. Now there is a way to approach this, though. Let me show you how that is done. That's using a different tool here, the Recompose tool. This tool will allow me to recompose the image, shift the image around without damaging part of the image. So we have our girl we want to protect in here. There's a little paintbrush right there, marked for protection. And let's set our brush size. Kind of get just the right size. Here we go. And I'm just going to paint just around the girl like this. So I want to make sure that I don't do anything to that. So I've protected this area. Now, if I grab these edges up here, notice I can pull that top edge down and it doesn't change the girl. The girl is protected. It's trying to find a spot where it can adjust the size without damaging that figure. Let's just show our background. Just cancel that for a second. And let's show our background image. There we are, so we can see that, and let's hide that white. Okay, we have our girl protected. There's the edge of that picture right there. You can see that. So I want to be just a little bit above that. That's pretty good. Let's adjust the right side in. Notice how it moves her into the picture, but it doesn't let her get distorted. So here's the, you can see the edge right there. I want to get down close to that edge. Kind of like that. That's pretty good. Let's bring the bottom up. There's our edge. Now I can't quite see what's happening above that. Maybe just take a look at that so you can. It's looking okay. So there's that bottom edge, a little bit below that. And let's check the right hand or left hand side rather. So there's the edge right there. I'll just bring in close to that. Let that figure it out. And that's going to squish the picture in on those four sides without damaging the girl. Now I don't care if the background is perfectly accurate. It doesn't really matter in this case. Alright, there we go. Now if we come in and crop into this size picture here, we'll have a much better sized switch in the background. So let's go ahead and crop. I'll just pull it in this time just like that. Crop in. Let's adjust the edge just a touch on that little white line showing, which we had a problem with last time. Make sure my lines aren't showing anywhere. Okay, choose all right. There's the crop. Let's look at our fixed layer, and there it is. There's the original. There's the crop layer. We did all of our clone stamp stuff in here, and then by using that very interesting Recompose tool, we're able to pull the sides in, keep the parts that we wanted to have included in here, including our horizon up there. So the picture still looks good, it still looks complete. It's not perfectly accurate in here because we squished it a bit, but we squished it in a way that protected the image of the girl, and it's now straightened up very nicely. So there's the original, there's our cleaned up and straightened version. Thank you for watching this special Photoshop photography project video. Don't forget to subscribe so that you will get first notice of new project videos in the future. Just click on this link right here where it says subscribe here. You can get all 12 project videos in this series along with 26 special videos demonstrating the tools and techniques that I used in these projects by clicking on this link right down here. And then thank you again for watching this training video.